Welcome to Steering Queer, where I examine popular media and pop culture through a viewpoint of queer criticism, literary analysis, and science. So I read a lot of Harry Potter fanfiction. I mean, a lot. I have over 2,000 bookmarks on Archive of Our Own alone. It's been my primary source of reading material since I was about 18, and I got fed up with published novels not having a tagging system. So let's just say I've pretty much seen it all. And one of my favorite things to do when I'm in the mood for laugh is to search out spectacularly bad or just really misinformed fanfiction and laugh at how wrong it is. And one of the things that I see a lot in a very specific type of fic is the idea that Voldemort was right about certain things and that Muggle blood somehow quote-unquote taints any magical person who possesses it. Which is just mind-bogglingly wrong levels of did you completely miss the entire point of Harry Potter and are you secretly a Nazi? But the thing that frustrates me the most is that this idea shows an astonishing lack of basic knowledge of how genetics works in general. This is a Punnett Square. I'm sure you've probably seen one if you've ever been through a high school biology class. But for those of you who've forgotten, here's a quick reminder. It's used to predict and demonstrate if and how the offspring of certain individuals will inherit and express a trait. In other words, if two people with or without a certain gene have kids, how many of their kids will probably inherit that gene? Because we have two parents, we get two copies of each trait. People with two copies of the same gene are called homozygous, and people with two different genes are called heterozygous. Cue the gay jokes. A dominant gene, represented by a capital letter, is one that only needs to be present once in order to be expressed, or to actively show up. A recessive gene, shown as a lowercase letter, needs to be present twice in order to be expressed. So, if two parents who express a recessive gene, meaning they have two copies of the recessive gene, have children, all of their children will be homozygous recessive. And the genotype, or what genes are present, of each parent will change what genotypes and phenotypes, or the ways the genotype is expressed, will appear in their children, and what the chances are of any one child having a certain outcome. So let's apply this to magic. I'm going to assume here that the expression of magical talent, regardless of power, is controlled by a single gene. Really basic, I know, but it works for this. Okay, so we know it's possible for a magical person to be born of two non-magical parents, and a non-magical person to be born of two magical, even pure-blood parents. We know that squibs, or non-magicals born from magical parents, have some special quality or relationship with magic that makes them able to do things muggles can't, like see dementors. This, of course, means that the gene that causes magic is recessive, since it shows up in children of people who don't express it. Now that, of course, tells me several things. 1. There is no such thing as a muggle-born. Every parent of a muggle-born child is actually a squib descending from magical lines. Therefore, Harry Potter was, technically speaking, pure blood, since he had traceable magical ancestors on both sides of his family. 2. Any pure blood family that produces a squib must have non-magical blood in their ancestry. Therefore, since the British pureblood are so intermarried and inbred, every single pureblood has muggle ancestry. 3. It's actually impossible, barring some very strange and incredibly improbable mutation, for a muggle, someone without any form of the magical gene, to make a magical baby. At all. Not counting squibs. In order for a magical baby to be produced, both parents must at least possess the magical gene. Which means, number 4, Snape's dad, Voldemort's dad, Harry's maternal grandparents, Hermione's parents, Colin and Dennis Creevy's parents, and even Dumbledore's grandparents were all squibs. And most importantly, since we know that Petunia isn't a witch, there's about a 66% chance that she's a squib too.